Hello everyone, welcome to your 12 Grasshopper tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to talk about surfaces and how to create surfaces in Grasshopper. We're going to use curves from Rhino to create these surfaces. So first thing you want to do is go to your top view, and we're going to create like a group of curves, like different group of curves, so you can make surfaces from them. So click here and this one, the second curve. And then just draw, first thing you want to draw is 4 curves. And try to make them as artistic as possible. So it really doesn't matter that if they connect or not, if they're shorter or longer, just a bunch of curves would be fine. The second group of curves, we're going to draw 2 curves. So just make something like this. And on the opposite side, another one. And the third one is going to be 2 sets of curves, but just make sure one of them is connected, and something like this. And the third one is just one normal, the fourth one is just one normal curve. So you're going to draw something obviously different from this one, but try to make it as close as possible. Like here it's really important that it's 4 with some boundaries, 2 opposite and 2 like connected at some point, and just one normal curve. If you go to your perspective, you can see that when we drew in the top view, it was drawn flat, like in the Y and X axis. Now if you just highlight them and then click here, we have points on and points off. Just click on this. We see that we have points which we can control in our curves. Now if you just click and drag, it's going to drag on your either X or Y or whatever. If you want it to be drawn like vertically, just click Control and just don't click it once, like click and drag. So you want to just keep your keep pressing Control while moving your points. So this one here, let's make this a bit higher. So see, like when you just click Control and drag it, you can actually make the points draw upwards, or like locate them vertically on your Z-axis. So we have this one here. Same thing goes here. We'll click and then we'll just Control and drag. Don't leave the Control keyboard or key. Just keep on clicking Control and dragging. So make sure you do it. So this one here also the same. And and this one is fine, just leave it like this, it doesn't matter. So yeah, we have here a bunch of curves, and now you can just head into Grasshopper. So you just type in Grasshopper. Okay, so the first one we're going to use is something called edge surface. So just double click and write edge surface. We see that we have ABCD inputs. So what you need to do is just double click and type curve, and we have 4 curves, so we're gonna do the edge surface for these curves. If you just Control, get 4 of them. Now if they're too messy, just highlight them and then click here. This is for your align, and also here. Okay, so just right click, set one curve, and go this one. Second one, set the other curve. Same goes to this curve, and same goes to this curve. Now you're gonna notice, like if I just connect 2 of them, it'll be fine. Like it connects. Like the minimum is 2 curves, and you can see how it just connects these 2 curves together. And the more you input the curves, the more it's gonna create a surface. And voila, we have a surface from these curves. And you see that it drew a surface even when they're not connected, and it was fine. So yeah, this is the first one we're gonna do. The second one is for this curve. We're gonna talk about something called Loft. And if you used Grasshopper Rhino before, Loft is just basically if you have 2 different curves and you want a surface to be drawn using them, you just use Loft. So we just double click and write curve, and then set one curve, and yeah. Well, you can set, okay, there's two ways. You can either set multiple curves, connect them, and you can have the loft, or let's just delete this. You can draw two curves. So set one curve, set the other curve, and then connect them to the curve. Oh. Okay. So to connect more than one, you have to click and shift. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but if you just click in one at its own, it doesn't connect. You actually have to click shift, and you can insert more than one command into the definition. Now you can see you have something here. It says O. O is for loft options, and it doesn't accept any other definition. Like, you cannot put something else. So you have to double click and actually get it, which is called the loft options. This is this one. And in the loft options, you have so many, like if you want them closed, if you want them like adjusted, or want to rebuild the curve. So there's like lots of options for the loft command in Grasshopper. The third one is the sweep. So for this one, we're going to use a sweep. And what the sweep is, it's like you have two curves, and you want this curve to be swept along a certain rail. So if you just double click and type in sweep, we're going to use sweep 1. So what it needs a rail curve, and it needs a section curve. And if you just double click and write curve and get another curve, so set one curve, set one curve. Okay, so just connect. You can see that okay, so you can see that it really does matter which one is your section curve and which one is your rail curve. Now if you just switch this, you see that this curve was swept along this curve. And yeah, I mean, because our curves are a little bit too well, it's not complicated, it's just it had more points in it, so it came up with this result, which I think it's not bad. Now when you look at your Grasshopper, you can see that the surface that is drawn is a bit it's not so smooth. Like, you can see it might look that there's something wrong with it, but it's not. It's just the way Grasshopper wants to use less how do you call this? Less like the graphics aren't so polished because it uses less space, like in your RAM or something. So you just bake it. You can see that it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's just the way how it shows, how it previews things in Rhino. So yeah, the last one is the extrude. So we just, in extrude, you actually don't need that much. You just need one curve and you'll be fine. So if you just hit curve, right click, set one curve, and connect it, nothing happens because you need something here called the direction. And if you just get in the slider, it just doesn't work. You actually let me see, 5. Yeah, you actually need to say which direction you want your extrusion to be. Like, do you want it in the z-axis or do you want it in the x-axis? So you actually have to get a z, a unit z, and then connect it before you connect your slider. And this is how you create a surface from just one curve. 50. Okay, so this was it for the surface curve. Now it's really important to actually continue the tutorial to the next one. It's the surface analysis, and I really wanted to put them both in the same video, but I think it's just too much information for one video. So please make sure to check the next one because it's really important. Now just try to play with what you've learned with these curves and like how to control the points and create like really interesting surfaces using these curves and these options in Grasshopper. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.